It's a new year and time to start thinking about how we can continue living our best life as we go into 2022. Maybe you've already quit drinking, or maybe you're evaluating your relationship with alcohol. Well, these tips are going to set you up for success and help you flourish as you move into the new year. They're not necessarily tips specifically about quitting drinking. You can look on the other videos on my YouTube channel, there's plenty of those. These came off the back of a list of things that I wrote for myself that I want to continue to work on as I move into this new year. And I thought that it'd be great to share them in a video. They might just give you a spark of inspiration that you can use in your own life. So let's take a look at some of the things that I'm going to be doing in this new year to help me continue to live my best life. So right at the top of my list is not to wallow in the past. Every single year, good things happen and bad things happen. My advice to myself is to let those bad things go, learn the lessons from them and then drop them, move on. And for the good things that happen, I want to celebrate them. I want to be thankful for them. And again, then I want to move on. I want to start moving forward. It's important to simply take the lessons from the experiences we have and then let go of them and move on. If we find ourselves spending too much time in the past, we can cause ourselves pain and emotional discomfort. I've spoken about this before on some of my other videos. It's just a reminder to myself. As I said, this list was very much something that I wanted for me to continue to working on as I move forward into this new year. But I think it will serve as a great reminder to many of us. So no wallowing in the past, celebrate the good things that happen, be thankful for them, learn the lessons from anything difficult that comes up in your life and continue moving forward. The second thing on my list is to choose something new to learn in this new year. I think it's really important to continue our learning and growth. We often put a lot of time and effort into learning how to live an alcohol-free life. But after that, there's so much more room to grow, more things we can discover about ourselves or hobbies or interests that we can start exploring and learning. I'm actually starting an art class this week at the local college. I'm kind of nervous about it, but really super excited. It pushes me outside of my comfort zone. Art is an absolute passion of mine. When my drinking started to escalate when I was around 16 or 17 years old, I put my paintbrushes away and they didn't come back out again until recently. That's what alcohol does. It steals the joy out of the things that we really love. So rediscover your passions and maybe you can learn something new about it. You can grow in that area. And often it's not about becoming an expert or turning it into a career. It's just a passion that brings us joy and is something that's good for the soul. And that's exactly what painting and art is for me. I can't ever see myself opening a gallery. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll share some of my pictures. But for now, it's definitely just something that brings real enjoyment, calm and peace into my life. And that's why I love it. So what's your passion? What can you learn that's new for you in 2022? Third on my list is something that I've put a lot of work into, and I share this with so many people. But when we quit drinking, we remove the mask of inauthenticity. We start to realise who we really are. We look at what our values are. We start to realise what we truly like and what we actually don't like. We start putting boundaries in place and taking steps to look after ourselves and protect ourselves from toxicity and relationships that might be damaging to us. But to make that happen, we have to learn to use our voice. And my commitment to myself is to continue using my voice into this new year. It's something that I've really improved, but it needs continual work. It's something that I still find a challenge. And what I mean by using my voice is speaking my truth, setting boundaries, noticing when maybe people are trying to take advantage or manipulate a situation and speaking up about it. And more importantly, probably the hardest one for all of us is learning to say no when we need to say no. So think about whether that's something that you might want to do as you move into this new year. Do you need to find your voice more often? Do you need to stop people pleasing? Do you need to start saying no more regularly? Think about it. Maybe that's something you could bring into your own life. Believe me, it makes you feel lighter and it makes your whole life a lot easier. The fourth one on my list is around love, and in particular, withholding and receiving love. It's an area of my life that I've worked on quite a lot, and I've made some really good progress, but I'm still a work in progress. And what I mean by withholding love is when we actually hold back from showing love to other people. And that's often through a fear of being hurt. Maybe in the past, we've had experiences that made us put up an emotional brick wall, and we find it hard to give love to others. Sometimes until somebody actually says this out loud to you, you don't even realize that you're doing it. Just think about it. When we're born or when we're infants, we have no problem giving or receiving love. We're like a blank canvas and we can easily receive it. We can easily give it. We need it. We crave it, and we still need it and crave it as adults. But then certain things can happen in our life that cause us to put up that emotional brick wall, and we suddenly find it a whole lot harder to do. As soon as we start to shine a light on it and acknowledge that maybe we find it difficult at times to do that, we start to take the bricks of the wall down. And that's what I've been doing over the last few years. And it's not just withholding love from people, it's also receiving love. Whether that's somebody giving you a simple compliment or whether that's love from parents, partners, friends. My goal is to continue noticing when people are giving me love and to wholeheartedly accept it without conditions, without judgments, just to accept it into my heart. Believe me, this is more challenging than it sounds, but love is something that brings us so much joy, so much peace, and so much happiness. Yes, there's a risk with love that we can lose it, but the joy of love is so huge that it's worth that risk. It's there for us to share, but it means unlocking our heart, and it can feel like a challenge. So think about whether that's something that shows up in your life, shine a light on it and start to pay a bit more attention. The more curious you get about your own relationship with love, the more you're going to become a person who's able to give and receive love. This is something that I talk about on some of my other videos, and actually I believe that love is probably at the heart of most problems with addiction. At the end of the day, we need love. When we don't receive the love that we need, particularly unconditional love, often from our parents or our caregivers, it impacts our sense of self-worth and our self-esteem. When we don't feel good enough about ourselves, we tend to turn to unhelpful coping mechanisms. And that's where alcohol comes in. That's exactly what happened for me. It actually ultimately all boiled down to love. So when we can learn to love ourselves, when we can learn to love other people, to give it, to receive it, we don't need those coping mechanisms any longer. So definitely think about working on your ability to give and receive love. The next thing on my list is to continue getting out of my comfort zone. I mentioned that I'm starting an art class this week at the local college. That means engaging with new people that I've never met before and being in an environment that I haven't been in since I was about 17 years old. It's kind of scary, but also exciting. So I'm doing things that push me outside my comfort zone, and I will continue to do that. But think about the last time you pushed yourself out of your comfort zone. What is it that you could do to stretch yourself further, to push the envelope? If opportunities arise, can you grab them with both hands? Because when you do, you grow in self-confidence. And I was just talking about self-esteem in the context of love. So the more you push yourself out of your comfort zone, the more your confidence grows, the better you feel about yourself. So think about those opportunities. And many of these things on my list, they link together. For example, if you choose something new to learn, there's a good chance that it will push you outside of your comfort zone. There's a good chance that it will cause you to start finding your voice and speaking your truth. And there's also a good chance that it will help you unlock your heart to receiving and giving love. So it's very interesting how they all link together, and they will all help you become the best version of yourself as you move into this new year. And the final thing on my list was a reminder to myself to be in the now as often as possible, to stay fully present as often as I can. I've talked about this before, but whenever I find myself in the future or in the past in my mind, I know that that's not usually a helpful place to be. Yes, there are times where I need to use the thinking part of my mind to consider something in the future or to think about something from the past. But when I find myself dwelling in those places, or they're causing me anxiety or upset, I know that it's definitely unhelpful. And I make a conscious effort to bring myself back to the now. And I do that by focusing on my breath, focusing on what's around me, looking at things that I can see, finding things that I can smell or hear or taste or touch. They all bring me back and connect me to the present moment. So that's another reminder. Try and stay in the now. Start noticing if you're in the future or if you're in the past. Because when you're in the now, you don't feel the discomfort that comes with being caught up in thoughts about the future or dwelling on problems from your past. Now, there's another video right next to me that I think will really help. It's the perfect video to watch right after this one. So just click on the button and you can start watching that right away. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's new videos every Tuesday and every Thursday. So I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon on the next one.